As the sun dipped below the horizon, I pulled my rig off to the shoulder of the old interstate. Dust swirled around the tires as I came to a stop. Inside the trailer, a myriad of items clinked and clattered. Old belongings I'd agreed to haul to a little-known auction house in Nevada. It was a job like any other, or so I thought. The day had been long, and the road had been unforgiving. I decided to review the manifest one last time, ensuring everything matched up before hitting the road again in the morning. I flicked on the overhead light in the cab, the yellow glow casting long shadows. The manifest was an old yellowed paper, brittle at the edges. I unfolded it carefully, eyes scanning the list of items. A child's rocking horse, a faded wedding dress, an assortment of rusted tools, an old typewriter, a stack of dusty books, and other knickknacks. But as I perused the list, a small addendum at the bottom caught my attention. A note scrawled in a hurried, almost panicked script. Special handling required for items in the last crate. Personal effects of individuals with notorious pasts. Curiosity prickled at my skin. Notorious pasts. I retrieved my flashlight, the beam piercing through the darkness of the trailer as I made my way to the last crate. It was a large old wooden box, nailed shut. Pulling a crowbar from my toolkit, I pried open the crate with a creak that echoed through the silent night. Inside, the flashlight revealed a collection of objects that made my skin crawl. A tarnished silver locket, a collection of small, sharp knives, each with a different handle, a thick, leather-bound diary, and a cracked porcelain doll with one eye missing. I should have nailed the crate shut then and there, put it out of my mind until delivery. But curiosity, fear's reckless companion, urged me to examine each item. The diary belonged to a woman known for poisoning her lovers. The locket was last owned by a man who whispered into the ears of the sleeping before he took their lives. The knives were used in rituals that promised eternal life, but delivered untold suffering. The porcelain doll, according to the scribbled note tucked beside it, was found in the arms of a child who had vanished for weeks and returned without a single memory of where she had been. I replaced the items, a sense of unease settling deep in my bones, but the damage was done. Back in my cab, the air grew colder, the shadows deeper. I started the engine, the familiar hum of the diesel beneath me, usually a comfort, but now it sounded like a growl. As I drove, the items began their torment. The radio switched on, static filling the cab before whispering voices broke through, speaking in tongues I couldn't understand but felt deep in my marrow. The locket appeared on my passenger seat, suddenly, its clasp opening and closing like a tiny, hungry mouth. Each mile grew heavier, the night darker, and the road lonelier. I saw figures in the mirror, shadows flitting in the edges of my vision, figures that ducked when I tried to look directly at them. The laughter of a woman, the crying of a child, it filled the cab, bouncing off the metal and glass until I thought I'd go mad. I pulled over, thinking to rid myself of the crate, but found myself unable to open the trailer door, the handles cold as ice, refusing to budge. As I struggled, the whispers grew into screams, the pasts of the items clawing their way into my present, demanding to be heard, to be felt. Realizing I couldn't run from what I'd unleashed, I did the only thing I could think of. I drove straight to my destination, never stopping, never looking back. The cries and whispers my constant companions. When I arrived, the sun was just peeking over the horizon. The first light of dawn a balm to my frayed nerves. I handed over the manifest and the keys to the auction house owner, a look of concern crossing his face as he glanced from the paper to my haggard appearance. "You should have left them be," he said simply, a statement, not a question. I nodded, too tired to explain, too scared to relive the night. I didn't stop to see if the items were unloaded, didn't wait to sign off. I just got back into my cab, the silence a strange companion after a night filled with the echoes of the past. As I drove away, I glanced in my rearview mirror. The road behind me was empty, the dawn light pure and clear. But something told me that the shadows of those items, the weight of their pasts, would linger in my cab and in my dreams for many miles yet. Ever since the old puppeteer moved in next door, I felt an inexplicable chill whenever I passed his house. The neighborhood kids whispered about the attic, saying it was crammed with figures that mirrored us in uncanny ways. At first, it seemed like just another urban legend. That was until Jessie disappeared. Jessie was a firecracker, always the first to knock on the new neighbor's door with a plate of cookies. She came back with stories of shelves cluttered with dozens of puppets. "He's got one that looks just like me," she laughed nervously. A week later, Jessie was gone. Her family moved away shortly after, heartbroken and without answers. Curiosity, that feral and sometimes foolish thing, got the better of me one stormy evening when the wind whispered secrets through the trees. With Jessie's memory haunting me, I decided to visit the old puppeteer. He welcomed me with a benign smile, his eyes twinkling behind thick glasses. The attic was more disturbing than I imagined. Puppets hung from every inch of the space, their glassy eyes reflecting the storm outside. And there, among the wooden bodies, was Jessie's puppet. It wasn't just a vague resemblance. It was Jessie, down to the freckles and the way her hair curled. "I see you found your friend." The puppeteer's voice sliced through the silence, smooth as the blade he used to carve his pup. "Where's Jessie?" My voice was a hoarse whisper. "She's here. They're all here. They wanted to be immortal. I just helped them," he replied, gesturing around the room. I turned to run, but he was quicker. His old hands were strong, and his grip was iron. "It's a rare gift," he hissed, his face inches from mine. That was the last thing I remember before darkness took me. When I woke, I was staring at the attic ceiling, unable to move, panicking. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I was not breathing. I did not need to breathe anymore. Hours passed, or maybe days. Time has little meaning when you're suspended from the ceiling by strings. The puppeteer worked around me, occasionally humming a tune that sounded like a lullaby or a dirge. Then, the door creaked open, and a new figure entered, the spitting image of a boy from down the street. The puppeteer welcomed him. As the boy looked up, his eyes met mine. I wanted to warn him, to scream, to do anything to save him from my fate. But I could only watch in silent horror as the puppeteer approached him, his smile never wavering. The realization came crashing down like the thunder outside. We were his collection, preserved forever in carved wood and painted smiles. The puppeteer didn't just animate puppets, he trapped souls. I am no longer a spectator to this horror, but a part of it, forever suspended, watching the room fill slowly with familiar faces, each as helpless as the last. And outside, the world moves on, unaware of the attic where the puppets watch and wait, forever caught in the gaze of their creator.